hate to tell you ladies, but men are done with being nice guys. I love a nice guy, but you know the expression nice guys finish last? That is the truth nowadays. Nice guys do finish last, which is why most men are done with being a nice guy. And they are like, you know what? If the women are going to be toxic, I'm going to be toxic too. I can be just as horrible as you. And women, you're going to hate it. You might thrive on the drama now you're young, but as you get older and you want a nice guy, you want to settle down with a nice guy, you'll find there are no nice guys left. Or the very few nice guys that are left have been snapped up by the nice girls. And you, with all your love of drama and your toxicity and your me, are going to end up alone being eaten by cats like Bridget Jones. That is what's going to happen. Well, obviously that wasn't the ending for Bridget Jones, but you get what I'm saying. So yeah, I think now is the time when women need to understand that nice guys are good and that you need to start dating the nice guys before they've all disappeared. So men, let me know in the comments, are you done with being a nice guy? Have you always been a nice guy, but now you're like, do you know what, I'm not doing it anymore? Or are you a nice guy through and through and you'll never change? I know there are a lot of nice guys still left out there, and I just feel like a lot of them just can't be bothered to be nice anymore, especially to the modern women. But yeah, let me know in the comments, and I'm off on a little mini break thing today this weekend. I'm not going to tell you where I'm going, it's a secret, but when I get back, I will share all the lovely footage with you. So have a great day.
I've come to the realization that the men who treat women like or like just lie to women or don't have like their best interests at heart or dog them out or just like treat them terribly, basically, like it could be anything. I feel like those men don't like women. I don't care. I feel like if you genuinely just don't want a woman to be happy by like lying or cheating or treating her like or whatever, you don't like women.
You know what's funny about this whole video? The men who do all that to you are the ones that y'all are attracted to. Y'all aren't attracted to the faithful ones. Y'all aren't attracted to the nice guys. Y'all are only attracted to the bad guys, and that's okay. And it is what it is. And secondly, women cheat, women lie. So does that mean that they hate men just because they cheat and lie? We could just reverse the same logic. So I guess women hate men now. But you know what's funny about TikTok? I'm gonna put an example up here. Watch this. Literally came across this one today. Me trying to explain to my friends, I'm literally so confused because I have so many boys I could choose from, but for some reason I like the boy I can't be with. Oh, so what do you know? Females don't really like it when a guy's all about them. They like the guys that they can't have. They like the men who treat them like crap, which is why you see all these females have the same stories when they get on TikTok. Anytime that they're talking about a guy, it's usually a bad guy. It's a very small percentage of women who are sitting there saying like, this guy treated me well, this guy did all this, blah, blah, blah. Y'all are usually with the guys who cheated on y'all. Y'all are usually going back to the men that cheated on y'all. The men that y'all claim y'all hate.
Does anybody else think it's weird that women can expect things from men, but men can't expect anything from women? Like, I seriously want you to stop and think about one thing that it's socially acceptable for a man to expect from a woman. Like, can you think of a tangible thing where if I got on here and I was like, hey, I think in a relationship that women blah, 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 that wouldn't be problematic or red pill? Because from what I notice, it's like, it's okay if a woman expects men to pay for dates, but that man can't expect the woman to put out. It's okay if women expect men to pay all their rent, but if he expects her to cook and clean, he's a filthy misogynist. Women can expect a man to facilitate an environment in which they can become a stay-at-home mother. However, that man cannot expect her to become a stay-at-home mother. Like, do you see what I'm getting at here? Personally, I don't think anybody should expect anything from anybody. However, the hypocrisy is crazy to me. And the lack of acknowledgement in the hypocrisy, it just confuses me. It's like we have certain demographics here who are listing their expectations, but not being willing to deliver anything whatsoever.
Say it louder for the women in back. That's definitely gonna get me in trouble. In all seriousness, this is what's so frustrating for so many men out there, because they're either trying to find a life partner through all of this stuff, all of the double standards, all of the negativity towards men in general right now. The fact that so many women would pick the bear over a man. Or they've decided to just stay single. They've decided to remove themselves from the game. And let me just say that out of this group of guys that have decided to remain single, there's two subgroups. The one subgroup that is the large majority is the group of guys that are just silent about it. They have removed themselves silently from the dating world. But yet you hear about the smaller subgroup of men that are angry and they're putting out content. They're leaving the comments. But what women fail to realize is that this is a smaller subgroup. Most men out there are just so frustrated over these double standards. And if while being single, they've discovered peace and sanity, they're going to stay there. They are choosing peace over this craziness.
The bottom 40% of men in terms of earning and the top 20% of women in terms of earning have females as the primary breadwinner within the household. From 0 to 40 men, they earn less than their female partner. And in the women's camp, the top 20% of female earners also earn more than their male partner. So this hypergamy, which is what it would have been, has been replaced by hyperandrousness, which is women as the primary breadwinner. In these relationships, men are twice as likely to use erectile dysfunction medication. If a guy loses his job, the likelihood of divorce doubles. Whereas if a woman loses a job, there's no change in terms of divorce. All of these things, do we lay this at the feet of, well, men need to be able to deal with a woman who's high performing and so on and so forth? It's like typically guys are the protagonists and women are the gatekeepers when it comes to making a relationship start. Like guys are the ones that are forthcoming. Women tend to be the selectors. And if that's the case and women are struggling to find guys that they're attracted to, I think this has a big role to play.
So nicely put. This experiment began about 60 years ago, and it was based on the idea, really the article of faith, that men and women were exactly the same and that gender differences were social constructs. And that turned out not to be true. Like these differences persist. And so maybe a system based on nature, acknowledging the natural differences, you don't need to be rigid about it. There are anomalies, of course. Men and women are completely different. Men prefer certain things. They thrive under certain circumstances. And the same is true for women. Why wouldn't you design a system consistent with nature?
Men have realized women have nothing of value to offer.
Women. The word you're trying to say, little guy, is women. Woman is one singular woman. Women are plural. Now, that might be too much for your teeny tiny little brain, but before you speak on anything, learn how to pronounce a basic word.
Worse yet, women don't think they should offer anything. So why should men bother at all?
Little men like you don't offer anything at all, which is why there is a male loneliness epidemic. Women have come to realize that little men like you have nothing of value. You bring nothing to the table. A basic little man like you can never stand up. And that is why you are single. Because I'm imagining that of all the women that tried to give you a chance, they saw what everybody else is seeing right now. Low value. So what's the common denominator in this scenario? It seems like you are. You're the problem. Women are running circles around little guys like you in almost every aspect of life and excelling way beyond inferior little men. Now, it's time to look in the mirror, little buddy, and realize that it's women that didn't want you and you have nothing. And the reason I know that is because you're dedicating your entire content to speaking solely about women in a negative fashion, which tells me that you're so angry and you're not good enough. You're trying to spin the narrative and blame women for your own shortcomings. That's called projection. Take a seat, little guy.
You like assholes or nice guys?
I think guys who are way too nice are so unattractive. It's like such like a ick. But guys who are like kind of and then they can be nice when I want them to be, that's like, that's
So
not.
guys are you think they can change. Has it ever happened? Has a guy ever changed?
No.
This is exactly why there are so many men that are just done dating. Because if they're a good man, they're being told by this type of woman that he's too nice. And she admits she keeps going for that bad boy type that she's hoping to change into a nice guy just for her. Good men don't work like that, and they don't want that. But what they're being forced to do is weave through this toxic craziness and trying to stay true to themselves, all while hoping that by the time that they do find their match, which is also of healthy mindset, that they're ready for her. Which is really easier said than done, because if you've run into this mindset from a woman over and over and over again as a man, it's just naturally going to be harder and harder to believe as a man that a woman is genuinely interested in who you are as a man that will treat her well. And that is what's messed up.
Nice guys finish last. Nice guys finish last. And real men move on. Real men move on. You know, Cat Williams has a joke where he goes, "Oh, you're over 25, still talking about you need to grow the up with your irresponsible." And the same rule applies for men. If you're over 25, still talking about nice guys finish last, you're just a bitch. There's no way around it. Because she told you she wanted to be friends with you 8 years ago. You could have left 8 years ago, but you're the one that stuck around for 8 years hoping she changes her mind. That was your fault. Now you're up, bitter, 3 a.m, mad, stalking her Instagram. Go to bed. Go to bed. You know you got work at 8 o'clock. Go to bed. Get your hand out of your pants. Log off her Instagram and go to bed. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'll never get friend zoned again. Not because I'm the handsomest or the smoothest. It's because if I'm courting you for 3 months and you tell me that, that'll be the last conversation we have. Not out of bitterness, but I didn't work this hard to be homies. So move on. Shut up.
the guy that's head over heels for her is not the one that she's gonna choose.
Sorry, bro.
So he's there thinking he has a chance, but she's just keeping him there just in case it doesn't work out with the other guy.
Yeah.
So now, when he realizes that he was just deciding this whole time, his heart is gonna smash it. Bro, we call that one the villain error.
Yeah.
Like,
villain arc.
catch me in the gym.
It's dark.
Like,
gym, 3 a.m.
Exactly.
Hey,
You're gonna
you
keep
know
me
what
in
he's
the gym
going
3
through.
a.m.
You know, and I was listening to Tabby, and she was saying the nice guys are going to start being bad boys. I think men just get tired of nonsense. And I think in a lot of situations, whereas they had boundaries, but the way society looks at men, they say their boundaries are part of misogyny, and you know the standards that men have is it's misogynistic, and it's patriarchal or something like it's part of the patriarchy or whatever. And so a man says, okay, you know, I don't want to be seen as that. I don't want to be seen as a terrible person, so I'll like kind of flex and, you know, try to be, you know, somebody that listens and understands and opens up. But modern women, because they're unhealed, and I'm not saying this for all women, but a lot of these modern women, because they're unhealed, they're saying what they want, and then a nice guy comes along and they don't know what to do with the nice guy. And so they sit around and try to turn it on the nice guy and say, well, you know, you don't have any boundaries, you don't have this, you don't have that, and that's why we like the bad boy. No, you like the bad boy already. It wasn't the nice guy's fault. Can the nice guy improve? Probably so. But can you stop being toxic like you are? Probably so. You don't get to continue to blame the man for him trying to take you out. And, hey, number one, number two, oh, you just let people walk over you. The problem, if a person is walking all over you, that's their problem. Now, if you say, hey, you need to stop doing that, go ahead and, yes, stand up for yourself. But the people who see that they're walking over you and they're trying to make you a pushover, you see what happens is nice guys allow people to push and push and push. And then when a nice guy comes out the corner on them, they're wondering why did Joey blow up? You know why Joey blew up. You kept on messing with him. You kept on picking at him. And you thought it was funny. And then when Joey did something to you and you upset, or even worse, you get eliminated. Oh, what happened? A small town is reeling after a man took drastic measures. That's what modern women are doing. They're out here doing stupid stuff to men that actually care for them and are, I'll even say this, they're simping over them. Men are simping over these women. And instead of saying, I got a good thing going, they sit up here and ruin it. And then they wonder why they can't find another man like that.
For the majority of human history, men needed to bring one thing to the table to get almost any girl they wanted, and that's an income. That was the only fucking work that we had to put in. Whereas women from birth are trained to do a lot of things around the household. Cleaning the house, they're taking care of siblings, they're like doing all this, you know, they're being trained by mom. And like the boys are treated as like little princes. They have to do good in school and they got to do that shit. But for the most part, like men just need to get a job and then you get a woman. But now that women have finally gotten to work, right? Women have also been putting in all this work like emotionally to figure out how to manage their friends and do all that whatever stuff that men traditionally didn't care about. But now we're in the world where we go out to the dating market. We're like, hey, I've got an income. And a woman's like, okay, and what else? And you're like, my dad didn't train me for this. Nobody in society is talking about this because men traditionally haven't had to compete in other areas. So I think the important thing is to tell men, hey, don't be a schizoid, autistic loser. Learn how to like take care of your house. You should be able to do dishes and do the laundry. Of course. Have more than like one fucking piece of furniture in your whole apartment. Okay, don't piss all over the fucking toilet seat when you're at somebody's house. If you bring a girl over, have a trash can in the back. Like basic human things that a lot of guys.
Really obvious stuff. When you start making money, all of this.
It's not obvious.
How come women don't want nice guys?
Women don't want a nice guy because nice guys are manipulative. There is something called nice guy syndrome. Nice guy syndrome translates to putting on an act act in order to get something in return. So when you are classified as a nice guy, you're not acting or showing up authentically. I like to shift it to a kind king. So women can feel when a guy is doing something just to get something in return versus someone who is just a good guy, nice gestures, and I'm doing this to really connect with you. And it's not just about you. This is how I operate. This is how I move
So
through
it comes
the
down to
world.
being authentic.
100%.
In order for us to achieve peace on planet Earth and get the things that we want to get out of this life, we're going to have to delete 90% of men. Yes, that includes your awful baby daddy and your ancient father. So if I was president of the universe, we would literally structure society so that we can finally achieve a matriarchy. But in order to do that, we have to get rid of most men because let's just face it, most men are not going to change.
In internet speak, delete means. And we have a woman here who's saying, in order to achieve our ultimate goal as radical feminists, we're going to have to delete around 90% of men. Can you imagine if a man got on an app and said, if we want to fix the problem with modern women today and the feminists, and the easy fix would just be deleting them? That would be like perfect B-roll for propaganda that wants to highlight channels like myself and call them toxic, but you will never see this, right? Unless if you're, of course, subscribed to a channel like mine.
Literally not enough time on planet Earth to change the heart of a trash man. And there's nothing you can do. We would literally need the second coming of Christ in order to change some of these men on this planet. And so what I'm suggesting is that we literally get rid of them using the science that we already have. Elon Musk has said that by the year 2031, we will be able to support life on planet Mars. So I'm suggesting that we ship 90%, the bottom 90% of men to Mars so that we can achieve the patriarchy. And what does that leave us with? That leaves us with the top 10% of men.
Mind you, she's quoting the smartest person she can think of, who happens to be a man who many of these women dislike, either for his political stances and his views on masculinity, which he's spoken very much about, and they think they can survive without men. Hilarious.
5% of which are the men who are loyal to their wives and devoted husbands. And the other 5% are the men who have amazing gene pool, great IQ, good bone structure, good hair, skin, tall, fine as you know what I'm talking about. So since 2031 is a couple years away, that gives us enough time to decide what are the traits that we want to keep from the men on planet Earth and how do we want to repopulate the planet. We can have sporting competitions to decide who is the most athletic. We can have mental competitions to see who is the smartest, the best IQ. We can have social competitions to decide who has the best heart and who is the most emotionally viable. But if we want to actually have a chance to fight as a matriarchy and become the great planet that we know we can be,
we just have to delete 90% of men.
Men aren't abandoning marriage. They're abandoning bad deals. Most men are not rejecting marriage because they hate commitment. They're walking away because they don't see a version of marriage that actually works for them. When they look at modern marriage, many see risk without authority, responsibility without respect, and obligation without security. So they ask a simple question. Why would I sign up for this? That question makes people uncomfortable, but it matters because marriage used to offer men something clear: legacy, stability, respect, and a defined role. There was a trade. Responsibility came with authority. Provision came with leadership. Commitment came with honor. Now, many men feel like they're still expected to provide, protect, lead, and sacrifice, but without the respect, loyalty, or stability that made those sacrifices meaningful. So they hesitate, and hesitation kills commitment. But here's the part men also need to hear. Some of this is self-inflicted. If a man avoids responsibility, avoids discipline, and avoids emotional maturity, and avoids leadership, he cannot complain that marriage has no strong structure. He has to become the kind of man capable of building one. Most men still want a wife, a family, a home, and a legacy. They just want marriage to feel like something worth choosing. Why does marriage no longer feel like a good deal for many men? Until that question is answered honestly, the trend will continue. The forge is ready. Let's get to work.
It was so crazy. A lot of women say, I cannot find the right guy. You too busy trying to make it work with a guy that don't even know your value. That's your problem. You know what I'm saying? You start to overlook the good guys. The guys that want to open up the door for you. The guys that want to take you out. The guy that want to buy you flowers just because. The guy that want to cook you dinner just because. You know what I'm saying? That's your problem. You think the nice guys is too soft. You think the nice guys ain't fun. He's too sweet. He's too nice. Man, you need to get you a guy that's gonna pray for you. You know what I'm saying? You need to get you a guy that don't mind opening up your door even after an argument. That don't mind paying for your dinner even though he don't like you in that moment. That don't mind rubbing your feet even though you just made him mad or y'all just got into an argument. But you wondering why you have a headache. You wondering why am I stressing over him? How come I can never find a good guy? How come I can never be in a good relationship? You don't even give the good guy a chance. That's your problem, bro. Him writing you a love letter is not corny. A man should be treating you with the most up respect. A man should be making you feel like a little girl at heart. That's what a man should be doing. If he ain't doing that, and you feel like you gotta be hard around him, he ain't the right one.
Alex Cooper got rich poisoning the dating pool. For 6 years, she ran the biggest podcast in the country, telling young women that hookup culture is freedom, that men are disposable, that marriage is the cage, that settling down is losing. She didn't just have opinions, she built a movement. Millions of girls in their 20s grew up on her voice in their headphones. And it worked. Marriage rates are collapsing. Dating apps are a war zone. A whole generation of men and women can't find each other. Alex helped build that, and she got paid every time another young woman tuned in. And now look at the photo. She's pregnant, married, glowing on a magazine cover with her husband. She got the family, the baby, the exact life she spent 6 years telling other women they didn't need. And the woman in this tweet just admitted the whole game. She called it the feminist dream. Burn through men in your 20s, cash in a husband in your 30s. Alex sold the culture. She didn't live it. She got rich pointing other women toward a future she would never accept for herself. And the daughters watching her right now, they're the ones who'll pay for it. If you're watching the culture around you go sideways and you can feel it in your own marriage, drop me a DM. I do one-on-one confidential sessions about your specific situation.
I think a lot of guys don't be interested, but they also don't know how to say that. And they do like the attention you're giving them. They do like that you're present and you're available, but they are not interested in being anything more than your friend. And so we also have to do better at stewarding those spaces, right? Because we are desiring, we are too also getting like the emotional connection when he has no intentions of taking this further than it is. And the moment he finds his wife, baby girl, you can hang it up.
Yeah.
And so I think like that's something I learned too. Like, okay, now Brenda, you can't like give too much because you're trying to help and it's like he don't want to be helped.
Yeah.
The reason why people don't want love is because most women want their bills paid. They don't want love.
Oh.
They got 4 or 5 people because they got more than 4 or 5 bills. And I think as long as we're in this transactional era of time, it's never going to be able to get back to love. We got to focus on the core value of what actually matters inside of a relationship. And we've strayed too far. Honestly, don't get mad at me. I know there's a lot of ladies in here.
I'm seeing all the faces behind you.
It's the truth. You know, honestly, we live in a era.
Wow.
As a man who's 5'7.5", if I ever see a woman talk about her high standards in her dating app bio, she is automatically getting categorized as a recreational use only. What you will find is that women will tell you things like, oh, I don't usually go for guys like this, you're not my usual type. But as long as you're handsome, presented well, and you can give her the right experience, these are the types of women that are the easiest to get obsessed with you. But you gotta refrain from pursuing anything serious with these women because they already showed you their lack of depth. That's why you categorize them as recreational use only and just move on.
However, in person, I have encountered a man slap me because I rejected him from a dance. And I had to end the entire party. Just like Shirley said, he couldn't take that in that moment. I don't want to dance with you. I don't want to engage with you. So he felt like I got to do something because how are you going to tell me no? Feelings. Yeah, so he slapped me. Yeah, I shut it down. But again, women have lost their lives because men don't know how to deal with rejection. Men have literally feel like they are entitled to you just because they are a man. Yeah.
And, you know, I do understand what Destiny is talking about, but I think ultimately where Destiny falls short is they forget that men back in the day, they weren't just making an income. The men had to mow the lawn, traditionally. The men traditionally had to fix the cars. That's not nothing. That's actually very expensive, right? And you know, it used to be, at least where I grew up, you know, and I didn't grow up in a terrible area, but you could drive around the neighborhood and you can see people, you know, literally taking the engine out of their car, working on the transmission and doing the brakes and stuff like that. Today you pay a pretty penny to do your brakes. Men had to know how to do that, change the oil and stuff like that, and they had to know how to do that in addition to working. They had to do all that, right? Again, where I came from back in the day, all of the lawn services that you see today, in my neighborhood, you had maybe, I mean, they existed, but you had maybe like, out of all those houses, a handful of people, if that had a lawn service. And you'd be like, whoa, man, a lawn service. You'd be looking at it, you'd be like, man. But that was back in like the 90s, mid 90s, that was happening. Men were still mowing the lawn. My dad still mowed the lawn. He taught us to mow the lawn. There's 3 of us taught us to mow the lawn. And that backyard was, I don't even know what to call it. You had like a side yard and then another side yard and then a front yard that was just as big as the side yard and then a backyard that was just as big as the side yards and the front yards. It was horrible. And it was hot out there. You'd be sweating. And we had a riding lawnmower for a time. And the riding lawnmower didn't even make a difference. It was so big. It didn't, well, I guess because I was small, you know, you'd be like, man, when is this going to end? But, you know, that it broke and then you're back to a push mower. So we take turns. Men had to do that type of stuff, right? And there's a lot of other things, once again, that men had to do. Neighborhood watch, neighborhood patrol. Women are not doing that. Men are. And that was a standard. That's what men were doing. They were protecting and providing. So to sit up and say the only thing that you provided back then and forever has been money. You know good and well that hasn't been true at all.
Most of my guy friends are single right now, and this is why. Talking about my friends, they're hustlers. And so in their mind, they're thinking not only would a girl be kind of a distraction right now, but the girl that they could get right now is nowhere near as good as the one that they could get in 5 years, when they're richer, when they're more successful, when they're more established.
First of all, it's really easy to say that you don't want a relationship when a woman doesn't want a relationship with you. Women have collectively decided to raise their standards, and the truth is a lot of men these days don't meet those standards. A man being able to only pay the light bill is not going to cut it. Women want financial stability. This isn't new. Y'all try to act like it's new, but it's not. Back in the days when women didn't have bank accounts, didn't have jobs, they did select partners who could financially provide for them and their future children. Stop acting like women these days are so new and what's wrong with them and this is so revolutionary and these are modern women. Women have always expected a man to provide. You're modern because you expect a woman to split bills with you, and no woman in history has ever been asked that. And then with this bootleg vague threat, like, you guys are going to want us in 5 to 10 years. We're going to be the ones with the money, and you're going to wish you hadn't hated on us when we were in our 20s. You're getting princess treatment. You're getting flown out. You're getting spoiled by these men who have money right now. And when we get the money, we're not going to want you. Those women don't care. The reason why there's so many single men out there is because we are asking you to be better, and some of these men are refusing to. You're digging in your heels, you're being stubborn, and you're going to stay single until you change. Women are evolving. Evolve with us or get left.
So I'm having this bet with my husband. He says men prefer women natural. I disagree. So
I don't know why. This is like a women discussion. Men don't ever talk about what they prefer. We don't discuss it with other men. Men prefer attractive, and attractive comes in a variety of shapes, sizes, and flavors. I would say that most often men prefer natural. That doesn't mean that they don't find women with fake eyelashes, fake boobs, Botox, lip filler, butt injections, hip injections, whatever. That doesn't mean that those women can't be attractive. And the same man that finds a natural woman attractive can also find those women attractive. You can like vanilla ice cream and Rocky Road, but a lot of men appreciate a natural woman. And most men would probably want their partner, their wife, their mate, to be on the natural side, but they also want them to be confident. That doesn't mean that they don't think that the other things look good sometimes. And some women need enhancements in order to be attractive. Some women are ugly and they look less ugly with things done. You could say the same thing for men. But I would say that the vast majority of women, I would say that the vast majority of men prefer the vast majority of women natural. There's also something really beautiful about the way a woman ages naturally.
Women who don't want to submit to a man because they're afraid of being controlled are the women who are controlling their man. And what they're really afraid of is losing that control. That's what submission is. It's surrendering control. Yielding to the leadership of your man does not mean blindly following orders and letting them boss you around. But the reason that women think that's what submission means is because that's how men have treated women in the past. But now women are the ones dominating their men and then complaining that they're not masculine enough. The minutia of it can be as mundane as my partner telling me, hey babe, can you pick up some eggs on your way from work? And submission would look like, yeah babe, what else would you like? What masculine women do is they challenge the leadership of their partner. Why do I have to do it? Why can't you do it? Or they criticize and challenge every decision they make. Masculine men will not put up with that type of behavior. Whether it's healthy masculinity or wounded masculinity, there's too much of the same energy going on. So if you want your man to be masculine, you have to be willing to drop that defensive masculine shield that pushes people away.
Women don't need men to live and thrive. The voids women have cannot be filled with semen. Now, you may want companionship from a man. You may like being around a man. You may like the attention of men, but you don't need it. Men need your attention. They need your presence. That's why it's so offensive when you ignore them. It's offensive that a woman doesn't want to be attached to a man by way of marriage and children, because it's to them. If they don't get access to women, and so this is why men don't cut women off. They cannot exist without women. The voids that women feel are not due to the absence of men. It's due to the absence of self. Women are here to learn how to love themselves. The nurturing part of women is for self first. It's for children. It's for other women. It's not for men. You're not here to nurture and love men. You're here to nurture and love yourself. You're here to nurture and love your children. And you're here to nurture and love and build community with other women. Right? Now, this is very offensive to men, and men are going to be fighting for their lives in the comments, as they do in every comment section of a woman, realizing that her life doesn't begin and end with a man. It's offensive to them because if women start believing this, less men will have access to women. Never be under that illusion or delusion that a man's life begins and ends with you. Men will never give you that kind of power over them. They want to have that kind of power over you, though. And this is not about, dating multiple men and being around multiple men and, that stuff. I don't have the bandwidth to do that. Men are never that important to me. Men are not that interesting. I genuinely like being by myself. I like myself. Right? That's hard for men to conceptualize because they need women. They're never going to understand this train of thought because they cannot live without women. Women can absolutely live without men. So the void you have, or what if I need men, or what if you don't need to be, you don't need that. You may desire it, but you're not going to, I'm not getting, right?
I love rage baiting guys. It's like anytime I make a post about men should be providers, the whole comment section, it's only for men. Only for men. The whole comment section is, stop being a simp. You know, that overused words that these little boys use. Stop being a simp. We don't have to provide. Women make their own money. Blah, 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 blah. Yesterday I had to sit down at a restaurant. I went to an Italian restaurant yesterday. And I'm not usually too nosy, but I am observant. And the couple next to me had got their bill. Their bill, I have no idea how much it was, but, they were both looking at it, and I noticed him saying a few things and her responding, yeah, no problem. So she winds up giving her credit card, okay? Now, as I look at the meals, I'm thinking $30 her meal, $30 his meal. They had some drinks, probably an $80 meal, I don't know. She put her card in, and then he put, it looks like the tip, which was like, I don't know, $15 or something like that. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, it has to be these type of guys that are calling me a simp. You know what I'm saying? Splendid.
Don't spin a block on him once you realize he was solid from the start, because a lot of women overlook good men for temporary feelings. He got money, he excited, he know how to talk, he know how to make you feel good. Yeah, in the moment. But that's all it is, a moment. And once that fades, now you sitting there missing a man who was actually solid, the one who honored you, the one who gave you real time, the one who was consistent and made you feel safe, did the small things, the back rubs, the checking on you, the showing up for you, but you called him boring. That's the problem. Y'all be confusing peace with lack of excitement. A man who is stable, consistent, and intentional, that's rare. But you don't see it until you experience the opposite. Now you want to double back. Nah, leave him where you left him. Because you don't get to overlook someone's value, then come back once you realize what you lost. Good men don't stay available forever. And by the time you understand what he was, he already moved on to someone who did.
This comment says, there's no female loneliness epidemic, only men, huh? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because women collectively, young, middle-aged, and old, have all understood and agreed that if they are going to be the ones that have to do all the heavy lifting, if they have to do all the cook, clean, wash, and iron, if they have to do all the bill paying, all the working, and all the things by themselves, and the only thing you as a man have to offer is your mediocre existence and maybe a mediocre paycheck, they can do that all by themselves. That is what they are saying. I've seen women who are in their 60s, their husband either dies or they get a divorce. And then anytime somebody's like, hey, do you want to jump back out there? They're just like, nope. It is a resounding no. They are going to go live their best life. They're going to do all the traveling. They might get them a little boyfriend, but they're going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. So no, there's not a female loneliness epidemic. The crazy cat lady, single cat lady thing is just a trope in my mind.
Guys mostly just want to, and a lot of them are ugly.
What do you mean a lot of them are ugly? What percent of them are ugly? Yeah.
Probably like 90% of guys are ugly.
You're not attracted to 90% of men?
Yeah.
You find 90% of men unattractive?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. What percentage of men do you find gross?
Gross?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 50%?
50?
Maybe more than that.
Of the age range that you prefer, what percentage of men do you find unattractive? So you said
90.
40, 50? Gosh, I don't know, like 50%.
I'd also say probably 90.
90%?
Mm-hmm. Maybe 95, honestly. Maybe more.
Like 70.
Please.
At least 90.
Do you guys think that you're top 10% women?
Looks wise?
Yeah, just looks.
Maybe like 20%.
You're top 20? Okay.
I would say yes.
Yes, top 20?
Top 10.
Top 10, okay.
Yes.
And, once again, we keep on hearing that women are evolving. Into what? What are they evolving into? You're modern because you expect a woman to split the bills. No. The way society is today, you would have to split the bills because you can't really get a house on your own. There's a lot of people that are they're renting, they're staying in apartments, they're moving to different parts of town. Really, honestly, and truly, in a lot of situations, if you want to get some land and really buy a house, if you're open to moving to a different city altogether, there is, and I'm going to make the people who are in the country mad. I'm going to make them mad because what's essentially happening, well, at least in my area, is the places that used to be like country, more rural, the city is expanding out there. So 20, 30 years ago, where the people were, you had some old people out there that were sitting pretty, they were retired, they were chilling. Now there's neighborhoods built in their vicinity. And so like, man, I come out here to chill, and here you guys come. I come out here for peace and quiet, and here you guys come with all of this racket and all of this noise. Right? So if you would want to buy a house or something like that, you probably have to move to an area that's a little bit outside of the city. Well, not a little bit outside of the city, kind of a lot outside of the city. You probably have to go into town to get your groceries. You might have to buy an acre or two of land. And, you just kind of build a house on it. You might get a trailer and like one of those mobile homes and put that on there, and then, start building your house if that's what you want to do. Some of these trailers today are nice, right? So the dynamic is different to where we have to do this together. But even in us doing this together and splitting the bills, because we both stay here, well, you know, if I got to go to work, then I would expect you to help me around the house because I don't want to do everything around the house. Okay, if we're going to split the chores like you're forcing me to, then we ought to split all of the chores down the middle. But when it comes to the stuff that men do, they don't want to split that. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to the stuff that men expect women to do, we got to split all of that, yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to stuff that men have to do, oh, well, you got it. Continue on. Be a gentleman.
This guy came into my live the other day and said women only want men with money. Bro, that's not the problem. Do you want to know what it actually is? This is part 51 of Harsh Sister Advice, where I explain things to men as if they're my brother. You're right in assuming that women typically won't find a broke guy super desirable. However, the reason behind it is different than what you may think. There's a difference between a man being broke and a man just not yet being at his full potential. A man who is driven, has a solid work ethic, is smart, well-rounded, and has the determination to provide for himself and his family, but has not yet built his wealth, is more attractive than a man who, for example, got handed down a bunch of money, is a mess, has never worked a day in his life, and sits on the couch all day surrounded by empty pizza boxes and dirty laundry. One has money and one doesn't have money, but one is clearly more capable, attractive, and appealing. If a woman chooses the latter example, she's a straight up gold digger and you don't want her anyway. I'm back for more Harsh Sister Advice.
Okay, we need to normalize guys approaching girls at the gym because right now it's just awkward for everyone.
Okay, who made up this rule that guys should not approach women at the gym? Because I disagree.
We were both talking about how it's so annoying how men don't approach women at the gym.
There will be a guy I see every day. We make eye contact, we do the little half smile thing, and then nothing ever happens. This goes on for weeks. At that point, we're basically coworkers. I'm not asking to be hit on mid squat or anything, but if you catch me between sets and just say hi, that's not weird. What's weird is pretending we don't recognize each other after making eye contact 40 times.
But like, the gym is a perfect environment. You're not at the bar. You're all working out, like everyone looks hot. Like, why are men not approaching women at the gym and just being normal about it? Like,
I don't think women don't want to be approached at the gym. I think women don't want to be approached by creepy men at the gym. And let me explain what we mean by creepy. Like, I hate when I walk past a man and I just know, I can feel him like staring at my butt when I walk past. Or if we catch you across the gym, staring at us, like, that's creepy. Automatically, it's like a no.
We should make the gym more of like a community vibe.
So you could say, hey, I noticed you working out here. I think you're really beautiful. Can I get your number? It really is that simple, guys.
Like, grow a pair and come talk to me.
The answer is hell no.
And comment one says good men probably don't need a matchmaker, and there are a lot of lovely women.
This is why I don't charge the guys.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, really? My straight guys, I just don't charge. I started off charging everyone. I'm a feminist. I believe that everyone should be paying the same for the same service. But the women, the guys that they were interested, the street women I was setting up, wanted a certain type of guy, and that type of guy didn't want to pay for matchmaking.
Yeah.
My husband is someone who was part of that. And so, and that's a whole other thing I'm sure we'll get into at some point. But yeah, I stopped charging straight guys, and I was like, just let me take
find like more success in that.
Oh, I had that's when all my success stories took off. That's because amazing. I was able to get good looking, grounded, successful guys that didn't think they like needed the help, and it wasn't a bruise to their ego to be like, okay, I guess you could set me up if it's not going to cost anything.
Yeah.
I insist that they treat on the date. They invest in the women invest in the service, and everyone's getting something out of it.
I like that. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Like, put your money into your date rather like, I'll help you out. Yeah, that's great. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Men are motivated by women. And it's like when the quality of the women has gone down so much and the contract of marriage, it's like, what incentive do men have Like, genuinely, what incentive do men have to get married today?
None.
What's the average body count of a 31-year-old, which is when you're getting married? Some are coming in with kids. It's like, what incentive do men have to get married?
I feel like
that's why I say marriage in 2023, it's not marriage anymore. It's something else, because marriage is for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poor. It's like, you do this, you cannot leave no matter, I don't care if he cheats, I don't care, like, whatever it is, you cannot leave. But women, like, we don't have that mindset anymore. It's gone. But it's like social media, like, we are so much more susceptible to like brainwashing from social media than men are. And there's so many girls that get on their phones and they think that there's a better thing coming. So there's no good woman, because every girl can have social media and a guy can come in and swoop
at any time.
Yeah. And so that's the problem, is like,
so what do we do?
If men called out other men for misogyny, the way that men like to call out women for feminism, the world would look very different.
It sounds like someone is just simply confused. See, in regards to this,
If men called out other men for misogyny,
men actually do call out other men all the time for misogyny. It's just that you don't see it as often because they tend to keep those things amongst themselves. But most importantly, they're not as performative about calling out other men as women are. But then there's this.
the way that men like to call out women for feminism.
Most men are not calling out feminism. In fact, a lot of men actually support real feminism, which is equality and equal treatment for men and women. But a lot of women really get it twisted when it comes to what actually constitutes feminism, because most of those men are calling out what is known as misandry, which is despising men for being men. But then again, a lot of women who are misandrists are actually deluding themselves into thinking that they are feminists. So it's natural that some women would be confused.
Women want nice guys when they're hurting and players when they're winning. That's the real punchline. Some women look for kind men only when life falls apart. They want comfort, patience, a listening ear, someone steady enough to hold them together. But the moment things improve, suddenly stability feels boring and chaos starts to look exciting again. And what does that create? Men who feel like emotional first aid kits. Men who give everything, only to be dropped the second life gets brighter. Over time, this teaches good men a dangerous lesson. Stop being good, then the marriage world dries up. Women ask, where are all the nice guys? Forgetting how easily they walked away from the ones who carried them. Men stop investing, not because they're heartless, but because they're tired of being used when needed and discarded when convenient. So here's the truth. If you want a man to show up when you're at your lowest, learn to value him when you're at your highest. Because loyalty shouldn't depend on your mood. Because consistency is the real measure of character. And because the man who stands with you in the storm deserves you in the sunshine.
When feminists say they don't need men, you ready for this? When feminists say they don't need men, 96% of construction workers are men. 95% of electricians are men. 95% of plumbers are men. 98% of carpenters are men. 94% of HVAC technicians are men. 97% of mechanics are men. 96% of welders are men. 91% of truck drivers are men. And we know what the other 90%
Damn right, Marge.
Yeah.
Large
97% of roofers are men. 95% of oil rig workers are men. 90% of machine operators are men. 85% of network engineers are men. 91% of mechanical engineers are men. 86% of civil engineers are men. 96% of firefighters are men. 85% of police officers are men. 80% of military personnel are men. 90% of pilots are men. 94% of train operators are men. 92% of forklift operators are men.
Wow.
These are some of the riskiest jobs in the world.
As women, we all want to complain about, oh my gosh, I'm told to respect my husband, but what if he doesn't deserve it? Like, how whatever. But at the same time, what we don't want to acknowledge is that husbands are called to die for their wives. And I promise you, you don't deserve to be died for.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. I certainly don't. And yet my husband is called to do that. And that is far more scary and far more permanent and far more terrifying than my calling to respect.
Yeah.
But we all want to say, oh, poor me, I have to respect my husband. And that's really hard. Girlfriend, he's called to die, so zip it.
I think the reason why people don't want love is because most women want their bills paid. They don't want love.
Oh. They got 4 or 5 people. They got 4 or 5 people because they got more than 4 or 5 bills. And I think as long as we're in this transactional era of time, it's never going to be able to get back to love. We got to focus on the core value of what actually matters inside of a relationship. And we've strayed too far. Honestly, don't get mad at me. I know there's a lot of ladies in here.
See all the faces behind you.
It's the truth. You know, honestly, we live in a era.
Wow. She kept it. I told you she was gonna keep it real.
Into you, I should be over all the butterflies, but I'm into you, I'm into you. And baby, even on the worst nights, I'm into you, I'm into you. Let them wonder how we got this far, 'cause I don't really need to wonder at all. After all this time, I'm still into you.
Force men to be responsible, because they're like, well, if she's not going to sleep with me unless I have over a 700 credit score, then I better get my act together. And I think that's fair, mother. I think that's a great idea. Bring your credit score to the first date. I want credit history. I need rental history for sure. Your mama can't be co-signed on it, and you gotta be at least a 720 or above, or else we're not gonna Bible study ever.
And you know, I'm really glad that Erica said, if a woman is meeting you outside of your, like, basically if you're a bum, then a woman doesn't want a bum. But if she's looking at you and you haven't yet reached your full potential, but you're working to provide and do those things, then that's what women are looking for. But if she's not looking for that, if she's looking for you to be at your full potential, right, and she has nothing, she brings nothing to the table, then she's probably a gold digger. We don't hear a lot of ladies saying that enough. We don't hear a lot of women being honest enough about that. These women are using you. This type of woman, if she's, like Kevin Samuel said, standing at the finish line, waiting on you to cross so she can pull, oh, this is my husband. Oh, no, I want him. If she's doing that, and no, everybody's looking for first place, nobody's saying, well, man, this guy came in the top 10 out of 200. This guy came in the top 10. Nobody wants him. He's not good enough. Oh, this guy came in 50th. Oh, I don't want 50. He didn't even place. But he came in 50 out of 200. That's not nothing. You can get him and you can say, man, I was looking at what you did, and you know, I might be able to help you improve. I can't guarantee you the number 1 spot, but shoot, maybe you can go up to position 25. What do you say? Yeah, I'd like that. And then maybe the year or 3 years later, you can end up in the top 10. Who knows? At that point, you might be running, and then that next year you might place in the top 5. Who knows? But there's potential there. Modern women don't want to do that. They just want all of the glory and the accolade.